All right, you guys, to quote Dave Smith, actually, because he tweeted something and I'm paraphrasing it probably quite awfully. But Dave Smith was basically speaking about the pattern of individuals who throughout their entire career are generally pro-Israel. Like they have no issues with Israel. They've done nothing that would signify that they had issues with Israel. Someone like me, like working for PragerU, quite literally like a Zionist organization. Marissa, who is the CEO, was in the IDF, served in the IDF. No issues with Israel, obviously. And then suddenly they critique Israel in one little regard, and it's like, oh my gosh, the wolves come after them. They're being accused of anti-Semitism. Their lives are being destroyed. They're being told, don't do this thing or we will destroy you. It's kind of implicit. I mean, one question. If you ask just one wrong question, suddenly it feels like a gang emerges and they're like, you sure you want to go this way? You sure you want to do that? Because we will just harm you and assassinate every element of your life. I went through this last year. I survived it. Well, Megyn Kelly is committing the crime that you were not allowed to commit. It's unsayable. I can't believe she's going to do it. She is just asking questions. No, Megyn, no, don't do it. If you want things, look at me, Megyn Kelly. If you want things to stay the same, if you want to feed your kids, don't you dare just ask questions about Israel. And if you're feeling pressure, don't speak about that pressure that you're feeling, because that's the worst kind of anti-Semitism, is noticing that we are pressuring you and you feel like your entire life is being threatened right now and you're not sure why. Yeah. Sign Bibi Netanyahu, your greatest ally and friend. Okay, well, listen to Megyn Kelly. She had on Marjorie Taylor Greene on her show, and they're just asking questions. Take a listen.
I have absolutely no skin whatsoever in defending any lobbyist group, including AIPAC.
Right.
So I would love to know what they do to get the loyalty of politicians, because I will say I have had multiple reach outs to me, both from friends and from connected people in DC, begging me to go to Israel with them. And I have said no every time. I'm just too busy. I have 3 kids. I have a full-time job. Like,
sure.
I'm not doing it. But lately, it seems like it's coming to be even more, because I feel like there's a contingent of people who are worried that they're losing me. And I've said that you're not losing. I'm not on Hamas's side.
No, God, no. Nobody's on Hamas's side.
But it's been a while now that this has been going on.
Right.
And we're getting more involved with the Iranian bombing and so on.
Sure.
And my own feelings are, I'm looking at Israel in a different way right now than I was on 10/8, that's for sure, of 23.
Right.
And I can feel the pressure being slightly ratcheted up, like you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. And I can see people like you, like Tucker, who I know Tucker. I've known him for years. And I've seen you in your early career. I know you have nothing against Israel.
Oh, gosh, no.
Never mind Jews.
Yeah.
That's all a lie. But
right.
And I see the beatdowns coming. Like, you're not allowed. Like, you have to stay right on this lily pad.
Yes.
And you cannot jump to another neighboring lily pad, because it could take you all the way down the river away.
That's
so
right.
I'm very interested in this dynamic.
Look, Meg, you got 2 choices, okay? You continue down this path and everything you will be over. We will contact your sponsors. We will have all of our homies in the media say that you are crazy, that you fell on a heart. The incident has never been worse. I can't believe this. Oh my gosh, I just survived another Holocaust listening to Megyn Kelly. Or your other option is to take a flight to Poland and take a picture in front of, Auschwitz to show that you've learned your lesson here about asking questions. You could also go to a Holocaust museum. That's acceptable. If you can't make it out, okay. If you can't make it to Israel, you probably can't make it to Poland either. But you can also go find a local Holocaust museum and take a photo in front, you and your kids, to show that you realize how harmful it was for you to ask questions. You hear me, Megyn? Because we're your friends. We're your allies, Meg. We love you, Meg, so much that we just have to threaten your entire life to save you. I cannot tell you guys, I know the night that they pressed the button. Like, I know how this works, okay? It's the ADL in the background. They're working with the left and the right. Do not think the ADL is like a leftist publication. It's like they control a whole network, okay? And I remember the conversation. I was sitting on a plane I had just done Tucker's show. What was that, 2 years ago? I did Tucker's show. And we were sitting down there. We were discussing all these things. I was properly about to give birth. It was November, actually. And I get this text from somebody who's Zionist, who I've been friends with for a long time. And they quite literally wrote in the text, like, you don't want to go down this route or I can't protect you. And I wrote back, all right, I'm being 100% honest here, guys. I swear to you on everything I love. This is what happened. I wrote back and I said, look, I'm not a little girl. You know, I know what I'm saying. I know what I believe. And I want to say that. The next day I woke up and I promise you, one day I will reveal these messages. I promise you, it was like my whole life had been stripped away. Like it was like, that was the final, like, we can save you. We're your friends and you're out. We love you. Don't make us do this. And then the button got pressed and my life was over. So Meg, it's one or the other. You're right. You can't jump on one lily pad so you cannot. That's just asking a question, like a general question. Like if you start saying like, what is AIPAC? That could be grounds for them having to effectively ruin your entire life. So you just tread very carefully, young lady. Okay. Very carefully. Further to that point, interesting what's going on. Obviously, I covered this yesterday. What's happening in Vegas? This guy on a trip meets with some NSA officials, right? He's an Israeli and he works for a cyber network. And this guy, Tom Alexander Novik, just decides he's going to try to sleep with a child. And they catch him, as well as 8 others, after he had met with some NSA officials. And for whatever reason, which they're going to tell us the reason, he gets released. Not only does he get released and make bail, which is just $10,000, which basically says, I'll come back. He then gets on a plane and goes to Israel. Now there's like a finger pointing game, but it turns out, this is a little interesting, that the U.S. District Attorney in Nevada is or as Mark says, Nevada. We were debating this. I say Nevada. I'm from Connecticut. He says Nevada. But she was born in Israel. And this is not a joke. She was actually born in Israel. And I'm beginning to ask, and I know I've already committed the sin of asking questions, let's just talk about what Vegas is. A city of vice, right? They say to you what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And I'm thinking maybe what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas because we know that this is a city where there is rampant prostitution. They encourage people, oh, this is where you want to go for your bachelorette when you just when you get married. And when you think about Vegas, a city that the empire of gambling was built upon, your mind kind of goes to Miriam and Sheldon Adelson. Sheldon Adelson, who put together gambling resorts, has won contracts for gambling resorts all throughout the world. What is it? He owns the Sands, like Las Vegas Sands Corporation. And you really start to feel not that comfortable given the fact that he's on camera saying how loyal he is to Israel, that his biggest regret in life is that, he didn't serve in the IDF like his wife Miriam did. And you just begin to think to yourself, everything that's being introduced by Zionists, right, and into our society, gambling, a major vice. Guess what's not legal, okay? What's not legal in Israel, where he has his undying loyalty. I should have his past tense because Sheldon Adelson is recently passed, but it's illegal. Slot machines are illegal in Israel. Pornography, hardcore pornography, introduced, laws passed, fought, convincing Americans this is a matter of free speech, introduced by people that were allegiant to Israel. And yet, miraculously, for a very long time, pornography was banned in Israel. I think they're still trying to pass rules to ban it. You essentially have to register if you want pornography, right to your cable company or something. Skylar, we should pull up an article because they'll say this isn't true. Look up, is porn legal in Israel? So what they are giving to other countries as gifts, they don't want in their own country. Why is that? If it's so fun, if gambling is so fun and they're fighting to get these laws passed in America, why not fight to get that passed? Freedom of speech, pornography, gambling, whatever it is. Why not keep that exact same energy when it comes to Israel? I think if I had to guess the reason why it feels like, the questions that she's asking, it feels like it can't say anything bad, you can't start asking questions about Israel, is because they know that these vices are being used to control us. Truly, you guys, if you look at the history of pornography, it is undeniable because they have explicitly said it, right? Al Goldstein explicitly said we Jews love pornography because we hate Catholics and we hate Jesus and allows us to crush the church. That's a direct quote on his Wikipedia, Al Goldstein, a person who had a federal case and fought for obscenity laws to be removed. What's happening here? Wake up, pay attention to what's happening. We learned in school about pornography. I remember learning it's healthy to watch pornography. Now I'm going back and I'm like, was that during the time when Robert Maxwell was printing the textbooks, when he got together and decided to print textbooks for American students? Were we learning that these vices are healthy? It's just a little bit of pornography is good. It's healthy for a sexual relationship. We were learning this in health class. I now reflect and I realize how disturbing that is, right? They are trying to get you addicted to one of your vices early on. And whether that vice is drugs, prostitution, sex, pornography, they want to make you guys think that this culture is okay because then they can subjugate your culture. And that is exactly what seems to be happening. I'm saying it for you, Megyn Kelly. Honestly, I'm telling you where you will end up when you start to realize that pressure. And yes, by the way, I would like to confirm what she is saying because obviously I still have a lot of Zionist friends, people who still support Israel. I don't know why they support Israel. I think it's crazy, but they tell me. They have told me they are offering, like, it's insanity right now. They're fighting a war, but trying to fund every pastor, every influencer, every radio jock on an all expenses paid trip to Israel. Come see it. We love you. We need more allies. Why? Also, if we're wondering why Operation Mocking Pastor even happened, it's because they are putting these pastors on the trips to Israel, probably getting them drunk, if I had to guess. If they're able to execute so much blackmail in the United States, do you not think they have it locked down in Israel? You don't think they're like taking them out for a night of fun and drinking or something with these pastors in the South? And then they own them? I don't know. I'm, again, just asking questions and surmising here. But I wouldn't want to go on an all expenses trip paid to Israel in this moment, given everything that I know. And I've come a long way since being someone that actually supported Zionism. I actually hate my former self, knowing what I was unwittingly supporting. And I was so uneducated about things. But I hope that I'm doing enough here with my platform to educate you guys on how it all works over there. Because it's completely and utterly ridiculous. By the way, speaking of which, this TikToker, like just the black memories on top of black memories. Do you guys remember those toys, those kiosks, right, that used to be in malls, and they would have all these like little fun toys? Like I specifically remember this one that I'm about to show you. It was like a helicopter and it used to fly up. And my brother definitely had one of those. I think we just had a few of them in our house. That always the kiosks in the mall. Well, back when 9/11 happened, apparently there was this whole scandal that probably no one would remember about those kiosks and an entire ring that was exposed. This TikToker and Instagrammer Wally Rashid unpacks exactly what went down. And of course, Israel was involved. Take a listen.
Mossad uses mall kiosks in the U.S. as front companies while on intelligence operations. Yeah, this is it. Attorney Jessica Aber found dead in her home after uncovering Israelis illegally entered the U.S. to work at mall kiosks.
If you live in the United States, you might have remembered seeing the Zoomcopter toy kiosks in malls all across America in the early 2000s. Here's a video of one. If you're in your 20s or 30s, you might have remembered seeing these guys as a kid. They always tended to have a thick Israeli accent, and they let it fly up. What you might not know is that the Zoomcopter kiosks, especially in malls on the East Coast around 9/11, were actually front companies for Israeli intelligence gathering operations. Fox News actually did a 4-part investigation on this in the early 2000s. They ended up taking it down, but I'm going to play a clip of it in a second. This is a declassified FBI document of the report as well. Numerous classified documents by Fox News indicate that even prior to September 11th, as many as 140 other Israelis had been detained or arrested in a secretive and sprawling investigation into suspected espionage by Israelis in the United States.
Another part of the investigation has resulted in the detention and arrests of dozens of Israelis at American mall kiosks, where they've been selling toys called Puzzle Car and Zoomcopter. Investigators suspect a front. Shortly after the New York Times and Washington Post reported the Israeli detentions last month, the carts began vanishing. Zoomcopter's webpage says, "We are aware of the situation caused by thousands of mall carts being closed at the last minute. This in no way reflects the quality of the toy or its saleability. The problem lies in the operator's business policies.
Documents say they targeted and penetrated military bases, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, dozens of government facilities, and even secret offices and unlisted private homes of law enforcement and intelligence personnel.
The majority of those questioned, quote, stated they served in military intelligence, electronic surveillance intercept, and or explosive ordnance units.
General Accounting Office investigation referred to Israel as Country A and said, according to U.S. intelligence agency, the government of Country A conducts the most aggressive espionage operation against the U.S. of any U.S. ally.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to say to you guys if you're not understanding what's happening here. Not only should you not be going to Vegas, okay? Forget your bachelor or bachelorette party. I maybe also don't trust mall kiosks or something because this stuff has been going on. Like, they are so ahead of us. It's crazy. It's a very sophisticated network. And by the way, Wally Rashid, man, he took it way too far. If he's not at a Holocaust Museum tomorrow taking a photo, it's over. Totally over for that kid, man, because, you know, you're not allowed to look back at history and start noticing a pattern that every time there's some blackmail operation, Israel is somehow involved. By the way, for good measure, I should let you guys know that U.S. attorney that was born in Israel for the District of Nevada, Sigal Chattah, I think I'm saying her name right, Sigal, Sigal Chattah, she then came out and was like, oh, I can't believe a liberal district attorney and state court judge in Nevada failed to require an alleged child molester to surrender his passport, which allowed him to flee our country. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, just called me and she's outraged. And she also called the FBI Director Cash. The individual who fled our country should have had his passport seized by the state authorities. He must be returned immediately to face justice. I will tell you why I don't trust that. Okay, couple of things going on there. First and foremost, they responded, like the police responded and were like, I don't know what she's talking about. She knows what the rules are. It's $10,000 bail. That's what the law is here. We followed the law. And the person was then asked by a reporter, well, did you communicate with her office? And he won't say. He's just like, she's allowed to communicate to the press what she wants. There's always this element of theater where I'm like, I don't trust this. Like, oh my God, I'm pretending to be outraged that the Epstein files are not being like, oh my gosh, I'm pretending to be shocked that you guys are still interested in Epstein. There's always this element of theater, the cult of the drama club that I keep speaking to you guys about that you perceive. So she's pretending to be shocked. The police responding going, what are you talking about? But also won't say. They were clear that they had a conversation with her. So some conversation took place. Was she involved in making sure he was released? And now she's being performative. Pam Bondi always acting like she can't do anything. You know, oh, Pam Bondi is shocked. She's almost like adding an alibi for Pam Bondi too. Because I tweeted yesterday and asked Pam Bondi if maybe she could stop defending, you know, Jewish students on campus, male students who are wearing IDF shirts if they're lightly shoved by a girl. Like, that would be a better thing for her to use her platform to speak about. I feel like she's kind of preventing a cover for her, like an alibi for her. And then you have Kash Patel. Like, you guys could do something about this if you really wanted to. And so pretending to be outraged is not really enough, okay? Why don't you cut off the welfare state of Israel and stop sending them money? That would be the first thing. And you could say, give us back all of the pedophiles, because he's not the first one or the last one that they will be protecting as a policy. And then we'll consider whether or not we'll give you money. And then after you return the pedophiles and we make that consideration about whether we're going to give you money, we will determine, no, you're on your own. I don't know, that would be my suggestion, but Pam Bondi apparently always has her hands tied behind her back when it comes to this topic, this recurring theme of pedophilia and government. So that's all I'm going to say about that.